So what do I recommend for a safe withdrawal rate, given that I've always taken issue with the 4% rule? I use a 5%. 5% safe withdrawal rate. It's actually quite simple. Because we know that the 4% rule, the way it was concocted, is impossible to run back from 1926 through the late 1990s. We just know that. There was no ETFs, no ETFs. We did start getting bond mutual funds in the latter part of the early part of the 70s. We did have some all-encompassing bond funds from the 60s, from the 50s, but not many. So there's no open-ended mutual funds back then. Certainly no government bond mutual funds until about the 70s. So as such, the 4% rule, for what we hear about it, is neither there nor is here nor there. If we're going to use the 4% rule the way it's concocted, given today's current interest rates, it's probably going to be under 3% now that the 10-year treasuries are trading about 1.5%. All right, so I don't like it. But so why would I do a higher rate? Well, because if you look historically, I think the average safe withdrawal rate, not the average withdrawal rate. Remember, a safe withdrawal rate is the maximum you could have taken out over a certain amount of time, adjusted for inflation, where you did not run out of money. All right. Again, I take extreme issue with the 4% rule, but be that as it may, we'll use that for our proxy, 4%. The average withdrawal rate was about 6 to 6.5, if memory serves. Kitsis and a couple others have done studies on this. So the safe was 4. The average was 50% more than that, even more than 50%. So 4 to 6 to 6.5. So why do I use 5? Well, because I don't believe any of this. I don't believe any of it. I think most people, as they age, their spending goes sideways and then down. All right. The studies are just over the top in that regard. There are not that many studies that say, in fact, I don't know of any, that say you're spending, the average retiree spending goes up each and every year with inflation. I'm not aware of any. The studies I'm aware of from CES, Consumer Expenditure Survey, HRS, Health and Retirement Study, and CAMS, numerous other fund studies and stuff like this, from investment firms. They show that the spending levels off, if not NBER, National Bureau of Economic Research, EBRI, they all show the same thing, that the spending maybe goes up initially and then it drops off. Now there's some, I think it's Blanchett. Was it Blanchett? They use, or I forget, I think it was Blanchett. They use the retirement smile. Like your spending drops as you get, and then it goes up as healthcare kicks in. I'd actually call that probably a fish hook if that was anything. So basically what happens is, this is what I think it's Blanchett. Blanchett from Morningstar. This is what they say, the spending smile. So here you are in retirement, your money, your income needs drop, your spending drops. Then as you get older, it goes back up because healthcare concerns kick in. That's survivor bias right there, because a lot of people don't survive for healthcare. I mean, that's just a fact. Secondly, not that many people have that much out-of-pocket expenditures on healthcare. Not that we say this is typical. No way, man. I mean, I'm sure there's some, don't get me wrong, but that would not be typical. I think, if anything, your typical person would probably be kind of like this, a fish hook almost. You got your spending drops off as you age, then you're going to get, bottom out, then you get older, you do need some in-home health care, maybe a little bit of assisted living, certainly more on prescription drugs and stuff like that. I don't have any qualm with that. But it doesn't. But what the 4% rule and all these other safe withdrawal rates were concocted on was that your spending goes up each and every year, adjusted for inflation. No evidence of that whatsoever. None. The evidence is that you're spending, if anything, the first 5 years might go. So here you are, and I'd take issue with this too. Here you are, the first while you're still working, then your spending might go up a little bit and then start dropping like that. So you're here you are, you're consuming while you're working, then you spend more in your first 5 years and it drops off. I don't believe that either. I'd like to. I mean, there's more evidence of that I would suggest than of the other ones, but I think most surveys will show us that your spending actually tapers off. It probably stays flat, then tapers off as you age, and it just makes sense. And I guarantee people like that. Probably more people than you can even, if you think about it. Who do you know in their 70s and 80s? Are they freaking going out, light cigars with $100 bills? No. As they get older, they just chill, man. It's just a fact. Not everybody. But to compensate or to aggregate everybody's expenditures under this idea that, you're going to have some huge health expense, it's just not true. Some people do. They're outliers. Some people are also incredibly wealthy. They're outliers. You're not going to be that person, most likely. Now, you might. Most likely, you won't. All right, so to prepare your whole life as if you're going to have $1 billion doesn't make sense. The same way with healthcare. To prepare your whole life for retirement, where you can't ever retire because you're going to need $300,000 of healthcare costs when you die in the last 2 years of your life is silly. Especially when you got this thing called a home. The best way to provide for your long-term care expenses is to have a paid-off home, man. There's no other way around that. But why stay at some crappy old job, putting on weight, getting freaking high diabetes and all this stress? You know, your immune system's falling apart. You're on the highway every day going an hour and a half each way in traffic. Why do that to yourself? Your family's getting falling apart because you're freaking not home until 7:30 at night, and then you're exhausted. You can't go see your kid's basketball game. You can't help with homework. Screw all that, man. Why do all that under this auspice that you're going to have, you know, some significant healthcare costs later on in life when there's the evidence is not there? That is for some people. I get you. The way you avoid that is you have a paid off home. You sell your home, you go to a nursing facility. It's not that just simple. So I use 5%. Sorry, you got $100,000, take $5,000 a year out. If you want to adjust it for inflation, that's fine. You said first year I'll take $5,000. Next year, well, let's see how it shakes out. By the way, there's this thing called belt tightening. Tighten your belt. Market falls, don't go on vacation. Simple. So 5% a year. Is it safe? I don't know. Is 4% a year safe? I don't know. There is no such thing as a safe withdrawal rate. That's the whole point. Anyway, so I say 5% a year. You know, if you want to adjust for inflation, go crazy. Remember, the likelihood, though, as you get into your early to late 70s, your spending is going to taper off, probably go down significantly. And as such, enjoy the first few years of retirement, man, for sure. Even if you go beyond a 5% safe, a 5% withdrawal rate, enjoy it. Enjoy it. You're never going to get another chance, man. So enjoy it. Don't worry about it. If the market takes a dive, tell your spouse, say, hey, man, we're not going to be able to go on vacation to Italy this year. We're going to have to eat ground beef as opposed to filet. It's something like that. You would do that anyway. All right, we'll see you.